Okay, so let's unpack this. It is January 17th, 2026. And if you take a step back and look at the musical landscape right now, and specifically, the massive global machine that is electronic dance music, you might notice something that feels, well, kind of contradictory.
Contradictory is the perfect word for it.
Right, because on one hand, we're so clearly living in the future. I mean, we have AI tools that can just hallucinate entire symphonies from thin air. We have sound systems in clubs that can literally, physically spin audio around your head in 3 dimensions. But then you look at what's actually dominating the charts. If you look at what's filling the floors, it all feels weirdly familiar.
It feels like we've been here before.
Yeah.
Like we've traveled 40 years into the future only to find everyone wearing the same clothes and, dancing to the same beat we heard in 1995.
Exactly. So that is the mystery we're solving today. We're doing a deep dive into this monster of a document. It's a transcript from the documentary series Masters of the Mix, and this specific report is titled The Future of House, 2026 and Beyond.
And this isn't just some list of hot tracks. This is a cultural audit. It's analyzing the state of house music more than 40 years after it all started in Chicago.
Right.
And it's asking a pretty fundamental question. How is it possible that a genre based on a simple, repetitive, almost robotic beat that boom, 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 boom is not only surviving in 2026, but is actually the framework for almost all modern pop music?
That's the mission. We want to understand how this one genre is pulling off this insane balancing act between, cutting-edge, scary good technology and this deep, almost desperate nostalgia. We've got a lot to cover, from AI ethics to, I can't believe I'm saying this, country music crossovers.
Oh, the country crossover's real. But You're right. What really stands out in this report is that while the tools feel futuristic, the human desires driving the trends are looking backward, or maybe inward.
So let's jump right into the sound of 2026. If you walk into a club right now, or you tune into a digital stream, what are you actually hearing?
Yeah.
Because according to this source, we are deep in the middle of a 90s revival. But I had to ask, isn't retro always a thing? What makes this different?
That's a fair question. Retro is always a cycle, but this is specific. The report calls it polished nostalgia. We aren't just talking about people playing old, dusty vinyls from 1995.
Yeah.
We are talking about new tracks that are engineered to trigger that specific dopamine hit of that era, but with modern firepower.
Give me an example. When we say 90s sound, what are the ingredients?
Okay, think about the Korg M1 piano. That bright, metallic, stabby piano sound that was just on every single track in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Think of Black Box Right on Time or those big euphoric vocal chops. Artists like Purple Disco Machine, Claptone, Duke Dumont, who are massive right now in 2026, they are using those exact sonic textures.
Okay, but here's where I get a little skeptical. If I want the 90s, why wouldn't I just go listen to the 90s? Why do we need a new version of it?
Because of the production standards, and this is the polished part of polished nostalgia. If you go back and listen to a genuine track from 1994 on a modern sound system, it might sound a little thin.
A bit muddy, yeah.
The kick drum might be a bit muddy, the mix might be quiet. These new tracks, the kicks are so compressed and punchy, the mixes are surgically clean. It's not the 90s as they actually were, it's the 90s as you remember them being.
Ah, I see. It's like watching an old movie that's been remastered in 8K. It looks how your brain remembers it, not how it actually looked on that grainy TV.
Exactly. It's a high-definition memory. It offers comfort and euphoria, which, let's be honest, people in the 2020s are desperate for, but it hits with the physical impact of modern tech.
But, as with everything in culture, Newton's third law applies, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if everyone is making polished, 8K resolution music, surely someone is trying to make garbage.
Well, garbage might be a bit harsh, but you're spot on. The reaction to that big room perfection is the lo-fi movement, and this is a huge chunk of the report.
This part I find fascinating. The source highlights artists like Mulgrab, DJ Seinfeld, and Ross from Friends. And apparently, they're doing the exact opposite of the polished nostalgia crowd.
They're embracing the grit, completely rejecting the digital shine. Imagine you have a camera that takes perfect photos, but you intentionally put like a dirty lens filter on it. These producers are using vintage gear or software that mimics vintage gear to introduce hiss and crackle and saturation.
So they want the static. They want the noise.
They want the mistake. In a world where AI can make a perfect beat in 4 seconds, perfection has become cheap. Imperfection. That signals humanity. It feels homemade. It feels intimate, like you're listening to a cassette tape found in some basement.
That makes a lot of sense. It's the ripped jeans effect.
Yeah,
You pay extra for the tears because it feels lived in.
precisely. And that connects to the third stream mentioned in the report, which is organic house. This is where you have artists like Kinda Music and Refuse to SOL. They aren't just adding hiss, they're bringing in actual physical instruments.
Real guitars, live percussion, congas.
All of it.
So it's a spectrum. You have the polished 90s on one side, the gritty lo-fi on the other, and the organic live feel in the middle. But let's shift gears to the thing that is, arguably enabling all of this and also, well, threatening to burn it all down. We have to talk about the elephant in the room.
Artificial intelligence.
You cannot talk about 2026 without talking about AI. And I was reading this section of the transcript, and honestly, the tension is palpable. There's a fierce debate happening between the purists and the pragmatists.
It is the defining debate of the decade for creatives. The source details this split so vividly. On one side, you have the purists. They look at the new tools available, specifically things like Synplant 2, and they are horrified.
Explain Synplant for those who aren't producers, because the way the report describes it, it sounds less like engineering and more like gardening.
That's a great analogy. With old synthesizers, you turn knobs to shape a sound wave. With tools like Synplant, you feed it a sample, and the AI grows variations of that sound. You aren't calculating frequencies, you're using a genetic algorithm to breed new sounds. Wow.
So the purists argue, if you can just drag a slider and generate a complex sound, or press a button to get a chord progression, are you really a musician? Or are you just a curator?
It's that button pusher accusation. You didn't make that, the computer did.
Right. But the report balances this with the pragmatist view. And this is really important. Professional producers aren't letting AI replace them. They're using it to skip the boring parts.
So using AI as a shortcut, not a crutch.
Think of it like writer's block. Let's say you're stuck on a melody. In the past, you might stare at the wall for 4 hours. Now you ask the AI to generate 20 melody variations in a minor key. 18 of them will be trash. 2 might be interesting. You take the interesting one, and then you, the human, refine it, twist it, and make it yours.
So the AI is the sous chef, chopping the vegetables, but the human is still the head chef designing the menu.
Exactly. And the expert in the documentary makes a crucial point here that I think kind of settles the debate. AI can generate patterns. It can understand math, but it cannot understand the vibe.
The vibe, that mystical quality. It sounds vague, but it's the only thing that matters. Knowing why a certain track works at 3 a.m. in a dark, sweaty warehouse versus, say, 2 p.m. at a beach festival, that requires cultural context. It requires emotional intelligence. AI doesn't have feelings, it only has data.
Right.
It can mimic an emotion, but it doesn't know the emotion.
So as long as the crowd is human, we need a human deciding what plays next.
Ideally, yes.
Speaking of the crowd and the experience, let's talk about how we are actually hearing this music. Because we aren't just listening in stereo anymore. The source dives deep into the spatial audio revolution.
This is a fundamental shift in the physics of listening. I mean, for the last 60 years, we've lived in a stereo world, left speaker, right speaker, a flat wall of sound.
Sure.
But with technologies like Dolby Atmos and live systems like El Acoustics à l'Oreille, we are moving into immersive 3D experiences.
I want you to visualize this for the listener because the description in the source is wild. It's not just louder, it's everywhere.
Right, okay. Imagine you are standing on a dance floor. In a traditional setup, the sound hits you from the front. In a spatial audio mix, the producer can place sounds anywhere in the room. They can anchor the kick drum and the sub bass right in the center of your chest, that physical thump.
Okay.
But then they can have the hi-hats circling above your head like a halo.
A hailer of hi-hats. I like that.
And they can have synth pads literally enveloping you, wrapping around you like a blanket. The vocals might be positioned right in your ear, just whispering. It creates a sense of space and separation that stereo physically cannot achieve.
And this is happening in clubs now. This isn't just for fancy headphones.
It is hitting the clubs. The report mentions venues installing these multi-speaker arrays that allow the DJ to move sound around the room in real time. So when a buildup happens, that riser sound, it doesn't just get louder. It literally spins around the audience faster and faster until the drop hits.
Wow.
It changes the DJ set from a performance you watch to an environment you inhabit.
That sounds incredible. It's almost like the technology is finally catching up to what the music was always trying to do, which is to transport you to another dimension.
Completely. House music has always been about the physical experience of sound, the body high. Spatial audio just amplifies that significantly.
Now, we've talked about the sound and the tech, but One of the most surprising parts of this deep dive for me was the section on genre fusion. Because house isn't just staying in its lane. The report calls it a universal glue.
This is where we see the flexibility of that four on the floor beat.
Just to pause, for anyone who doesn't know the jargon, four on the floor, that's the heartbeat, right?
Simple as can be. Thump, 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 thump. A kick drum on every beat. It's the most stable rhythmic structure in modern music. And because it's so stable, it's like a skeleton. You can hang almost any kind of flesh on it, any melody, any instrument, and the skeleton just holds it up.
And the source highlights some massive global influences, specifically Afro House and Amapiano. Now, I've been hearing Amapiano everywhere, but can you break down what that actually sounds like?
Amapiano is a phenomenon. It comes from South Africa. It's slower, usually around 112 beats per minute, which gives it this really sexy, laid-back groove. But the defining feature is the log drum.
The log drum.
It's a synthetic bass sound, but it sounds percussive, like a wooden rattle or hollow log being hit. It has this incredible rattling resonance that hits you right in the stomach.
Right.
That sound has permeated everything. You hear pop stars using it, you hear techno DJs using it. It started local, but because it meshes so well with the house framework, it went global instantly.
But then there are the crossovers that, honestly, I would have laughed at 5 years ago. If you told me I'd be two-stepping to a banjo drop at a warehouse rave, I would have said you were crazy. But the source explicitly mentions house meeting, country music.
Yes. The Yeehaw agenda has officially hit the dance floor.
They cite Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter album as a catalyst and experiments by Diplo. But seriously, how does country, which is storytelling and acoustic guitars, mix with house, which is repetitive and electronic?
Well, it works because of the rhythm. Country music has always had a stomp-clap pulse. It's dance music, just a different kind of dance. When you take a slide guitar or a banjo, those sounds occupy a similar frequency range to a synthesizer lead.
Oh, that makes sense.
They're bright and cutting, so if you put a country vocal and a banjo riff over a house kick drum, the energy translates perfectly.
So it's the twang meeting the sawtooth wave.
Exactly. And the report also mentions fusions with UK drill, which adds that dark sliding bass, and hyperpop, which brings that glitchy, chaotic energy. It really proves the point that house isn't just a genre anymore, it's a language. It's a syntax that allows different cultures to talk to each other.
I love that. Moving on from the music itself, the report takes a fascinating turn into the values of the scene in 2026. And this is where I felt a bit of a contradiction again.
Right.
There's a massive emphasis on sustainability.
This is a significant cultural shift. For a long time, electronic music was a heavy polluter. DJs flying private jets to 3 countries in one night, massive festivals on diesel generators, plastic cups everywhere. It was a high-carbon culture.
But the source notes that the younger generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, are demanding eco-consciousness. They don't want to party if it means killing the planet.
Right, so we are seeing these operational changes, artists taking trains for European tours instead of flights. Clubs like Club QC in Amsterdam running entirely on renewable energy. Festivals like Tomorrowland implementing strict recycling and carbon offset programs. The report says for the youth in 2026, sustainability is a prerequisite for cool.
And yet, here's where I have to play devil's advocate. Right alongside this push for a greener future, we have the vinyl paradox.
It creates quite a tension, doesn't it?
It makes no sense. Vinyl sales have been growing for, 15 plus years? We're in a digital world, yet people are obsessed with buying these big, heavy discs made of PVC plastic. And PVC is a petroleum product. It's oil.
It is not environmentally friendly to produce, ship, or store vinyl records. And the source acknowledges this conflict explicitly. You have a green generation buying toxic plastic.
So why? Why are young people who grew up with Spotify and care about the climate buying records?
It's about permanence, and it's about value. In a world of streaming, music feels like water. It just flows past you, endless and free. It feels disposable.
Right.
Vinyl signals seriousness. It says, this art is worth preserving. This art takes up space in my physical home.
It's a ritual, isn't it?
It is. Taking the record out of the sleeve, brushing off the dust, putting the needle down, it forces you to pay attention in a way that just clicking a playlist doesn't. It grounds you. So even though it's bad for the planet in a literal sense, it's good for the soul in a cultural sense. It's a rejection of the disposable culture.
I guess that links back to the lo-fi thing, too.
What?
We are craving things we can actually touch.
Exactly. In a virtual world, physical objects become luxuries.
So we've looked at the trends, the tech, the fusions, the values. But the documentary ends with a really big existential question. It asks, Will house music still exist in 10, 20, or 50 years? Or is it just a fad that lasted a long time?
And the answer the source gives is a resounding yes. And the reason is fascinating because it's not cultural, it's biological.
Biological, like it's in our DNA.
It's in our physiology. The source explains that the standard tempo of house music, that 120 to 130 beats per minute range, isn't arbitrary. It mimics the human heart rate during activity or excitement.
Wow. So when we are dancing or running or getting excited, our hearts are literally beating a house track.
Precisely. It is primal. The report describes it as meditative and hypnotic. I mean, humans have been dancing to steady, repetitive rhythms around fires for tens of thousands of years. Trance states, shamanic drumming, it's all about that repetitive thud.
Right.
House music is just the technological version of that ancient impulse.
So even if we have quantum computers and holographic DJs, which the source mentions as future possibilities, that beat isn't going anywhere because we aren't going anywhere.
The furniture will change. We might be dancing in virtual reality. We might be listening to music generated by our own thoughts via a neural link. But the underlying engine, that boom, 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 that works. It works with human nature to create community and elevate spirits. As long as people have hearts that beat and feet that want to move, house music or something that sounds exactly like it will exist.
It's comforting in a way to know that amidst all this crazy tech, the most popular sound is just a heartbeat.
It is. The Chicago pioneers who started this in the warehouse, they didn't just invent a style, they tapped into something universal.
So let's try to summarize this massive download, where in 2026, we've got a sound that is looking back to the 90s with rose-colored glasses while simultaneously getting gritty with lo-fi tape hiss. We have AI speeding up production but struggling to capture the human vibe. We have sound systems that wrap us in 3D audio blankets. We have house mixing with country banjos and amapiano log drums. And we have a community that is trying to save the planet while filling their shelves with plastic records.
It's a complex, contradictory, and incredibly vibrant ecosystem. It's not dying, it's evolving, it's messy, but that's what makes it alive.
It really is. It makes you excited to see what the next 40 years look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we sign off, is there one last thing from the source material that really stuck with you? A final nugget for the listener.
There is. And it's a bit of a provocative thought to leave you with. We talked about AI perfection and holographic performances. The documentary poses this scenario. If we reach a point where AI can generate the statistically perfect beat better than any human, and a hologram can perform the technically perfect DJ set, it raises a question.
Okay.
In that club of the future, if the DJ is code and the music is data, will the only human element left in the room be the crowd?
That's a haunt.
And if that's the case, does that mean the crowd is actually the most important part of the music? That the energy doesn't come from the stage, but from the floor?
The crowd as the final frontier of humanity. I love that. It puts the power back in the hands of the dancer.
Exactly where it belongs.
Well, on that note, we are going to wrap up this deep dive. Thank you for exploring the future of house with us.
It's been a pleasure. Keep listening.
We'll catch you on the next one.